Pushkin, the love of my life. And if you're interested in studying Russian, specifically to become a teacher, secondary school teacher, definitely stay tuned because I'm going to be talking about the course structure, some specifics. I'm going to be giving some book recommendations based on the syllabus. Good morning! Having a cup of coffee. Unfortunately, I'm out of oat milk. I now have to drink just a coffee. Всем привет! Hallo, zusammen! Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anastasia and I make videos to share my experiences as a Russian German who's been living in Germany for quite some time now. And specifically in today's video, I am going to be talking about my studies at LMU part 2. English last video, Russisch this video. Let me begin by giving you an overview of today's video. As you probably recognize from last week's video, the structure really resembles the structure of the English major because, and this is a big advantage if you're doing like 2 languages to become a teacher, a secondary school teacher, you can pick 2 languages, in my case English and Russian, you know. So, because first of all, you would do introductory courses consisting of a lecture and a seminar into linguistics, in this case specifically to Slavic languages, right? Then of course you would do introduction or introductory courses into literature, so Slavic literature, and this is where it gets broken down into: are you doing Polish literature? Are you doing Russian literature? Are you doing Ukrainian literature? Right? Then you would of course do some language practice, which in my case had some modules recognized as a native speaker of Russian. So I would not have to do the course for beginners. I still had to do some courses for advanced speakers of Russian, you know, just to polish my grammar a little bit. Had to do a module which is called Cultural Studies. A big difference to my English major is that I did not have to do a stay abroad, like a semester abroad, but I would do like a seminar. I did analyze letters from Lewis Carroll, who visited Russia. It's an interesting account of his staying there, his observations, his perception, and also his interpretation. Last but not least, you would also do a module on didactics, so the teaching module, which was really fun, and I shall never forget the teacher, because being a German herself, she's managed to master Russian to like such extent that it blows your mind, because her command of Russian is like really superb. Each of those, you start on the surface and then you dig deeper. Before you are allowed to take the state exam, you become an expert, so to speak. Right? I feel like I've got to start each of my videos with a little confession, because I always watch a video, like a previous video, before shooting a new one, because first of all, I tend to get repetitive. You might have noticed, you know, that's okay. I'm a beginning YouTuber. I want to improve the quality of my videos, and this is why. By doing so, I have realized again that I've made a couple of mistakes, and I am briefly going to correct those right now, as Stephen Covey has admitted correct it instantly, and learn from it. And this is exactly what I'm going to do, okay? So mistake number one was, when I was talking about the translation course, the Sprachmittlungskurs, I said that we were required to purchase the book by Ungaro, which is called A Grammar of Present-Day English. And this is not the case. This book we were required to purchase for a course called Analyzing Grammar. Number two, when I was holding up two books by Ian McEwan and Virginia Woolf, so Saturday and Mrs. Dalloway, I was talking about those novels with regards to the contemporary novel course, which is of course not the case because those two do not belong to the same historical epoch. But because of the editing process, I must have cut out this exact sentence. What I was trying to communicate is they are both set in London. I feel like we just have to normalize the making mistakes part of being a human, I guess. With that being said, let's move on. If you're interested in studying Russian at LMU here in Munich, to do the so-called Lehramt in Russian, to become a secondary school teacher, let's begin with the Linguistics course. And as you can see, the book that is recommended is called Einführung in die russische Sprachwissenschaft. Okay, so an introduction into the Russian linguistics. This is based basically on Ferdinand de Saussure's structuralist approach to language, because we got a differentiation between long and parole. And then we also are discussing what is a language sign. As you can see from the table of contents, you do have to do a bit of phonetics and phonology as well. But I actually did an intensive course and I chose to do Jakobson. Okay, so Roman Jakobson, a great linguist. It's turned out to be an interesting paper, which I won't go into right now, but I might show it a bit later. You also, of course, have to do the Russian alphabet. It is made up of 33 letters, okay? But we do also have like really unique sounds, unique to the Russian language. The sounds that most Russian learners are struggling with, in my eyes, is the sound u, okay, like in tu, okay, so you do have to do some morphology, so word formation, as you can see here, we've got derivation, composition, conversion. So what's on the syllabus is lexicology and syntax, text linguistics, semantics, pragmatics, psycholinguistics, sociolinguistics, corpus linguistics, a little bit of historical linguistics, and that's about it in terms of the Russian linguistics. Fachdidaktik. The book is called the same way, Fachdidaktik Russisch by Anka Bergmann. As far as I'm concerned, this is the only book you can find in the library, the so-called Philologicum. As you can see, also based on the table of contents, I'll quickly walk you through it. What does it mean to be learning Russian in a German-speaking country? The Russian lessons in Germany after 1945, because Russian was established as a school subject, especially in the eastern part of the country, and then also the Russian lessons after 1990. Alright, then she's also talking about the framework when teaching Russian in Germany. So moving on, you can see she is talking quite a lot about the structure, which is the curriculum, so the Lehrplan. In the curriculum, you can see that these theoretical preliminaries are based on the idea that the lessons should be competence-based, competence-oriented lessons. Not only the Russian lessons, but also the English lessons are supposed to be communicative, not grammar, but communication, because and it's also one of the theoretical ideas. The learners have to be able to communicate their ideas in their respective language, right? He is quite extensively talking about the separate skills. So you've got 4, right? Which is writing, speaking, listening, and reading, and how you can best train those. Then we've got listening, comprehension, reading, speaking, translation, the communicative skill of writing. How can you acquire the means, the language means, which are, for example, pronunciation, and how can you possibly teach pronunciation? Vocabulary, okay, because you can't communicate when you don't have the necessary words in your repertoire. The intercultural competence, the Russian culture and its specialties. How can you train intercultural competence in the Russian lesson? Where can you encounter those intercultural incidents? How can you get interculturally competent? Okay, let's move on to the literature part of the course. I would like to begin with the class which I took, which was devoted to Pushkin and his work. And you might think, like, Anastasia, but are you not contradicting yourself? You said last time that you're not really into poetry, which is correct, but it's actually the book which I am holding up for you. It's a novel in verse, so it's narrative poetry. Alexander Sergeyevich Pushkin. Pushkin is considered the founding father of Russian literature, which might be quite debatable because his predecessors, like Державин, who also contributed to the Russian literature, okay? Anyway, he is considered the founding father. He is said to be the Shakespeare of Russian literature. He was, of course, a genius, okay? And this is truly a masterpiece. Some background, what this is about. Evgeny Onegin, Eugene Onegin. Definitely watch the movie with Ralph Fiennes and Liv Taylor, a masterpiece in itself. Really like this adaptation. Onegin and Tatiana. Tatiana is a young and impressionable Russian girl who, when she sees Onegin the first time, she falls in love with him, but he does not return her feelings, and he sort of gives her a sermon, the famous Onegin's sermon, which is quite decent, I think, on his part, because he could have taken advantage of her innocence, as is the case, for example, in Karamzin's Бедная Лиза, so the poor Lisa, because both in Poor Lisa and in Onegin we've got 2 characters who belong to different social classes. In Poor Lisa, the Erast, he does take advantage of her feelings, and she loses her virginity, and he then abandons her, and in the end she drowns herself in a lake. We've got quite a few suicide cases in Russian literature. And I'll come back to Anna Karenina, okay? So you might have guessed when talking about Tolstoy. Years after that scene, she writes a letter to him, a declaration of love, and he kindly turns her down, okay? By saying that she's got to control her feelings in future. And so she then gets married, and she becomes a noble, stately woman, whom he encounters like many years after that scene, and he now falls in love with her, and she now turns him down on the grounds that she's now married and she intends to remain faithful to her husband. It will blow your mind. Beautifully written, especially if you can read it in Russian. The translation version is also a good one. If I'm not mistaken, Vladimir Nabokov, so Vladimir Nabokov translated this novel in verse into English. Her letter to Onegin, okay? Я к вам пишу, чего же более, что я могу еще сказать? Теперь я знаю вашей воле меня презрением наказать, но вы к моей несчастной доле хоть каплю жалости храня, вы не оставите меня. Случайно вас когда-то встретя, в вас искру нежности заметя, я ей поверить не посмел. Привычки милой не дал ходу, свою пустылую свободу я потерять не захотел. I primarily focused on the 19th century literature because I think it's quite important for Russia. So you've got Turgenev, you've got Tolstoy, you've got Dostoevsky. Of course, I did a course on Tolstoy, Leo Tolstoy, and so I read Anna Karenina. And this is one of my all-time favorite novels, even though it ends so tragically. My favorite film adaptation of Anna Karenina, which I really would like to recommend to you, is not the one with Keira Knightley, no, but the one with Tatiana Samoilova and Vasily Lonovoy from the year 1967. It's a masterpiece. The known themes we've got marriage, faith, religion, love, adultery, social convention, and so on and so forth. I took a class on Dostoevsky, and for this class we had to read the brothers Karamazov, Братья Karamazovы, and because it was like a comparatively based course or class, we compared this novel to an American novel called Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. One of the literary classes I took was on Vasily Grossman and his novel titled Life and Fate. As you can see, it's quite a thick volume, but it's such a captivating book. Once you've started reading it, there is no chance you can put it away. It's a tragic one. It's about the Nazi Germany and the death camps, Stalin. There is also a movie based on this book. I did watch it and I quite like it. And I analysed this book with regards to narratology, so I might walk you through my paper when I might make a video on narratology, so how a literary piece of writing is constructed. There is no way you can prepare and pass successfully the oral exam in Russian without this book by Evgeny Anisimov. So the history of Russia from Rurik to Putin, who is the current head of state. It's such a comprehensive book. If or when you've worked your way through it, you are best prepared, okay? Full of facts and small like stories, so that you can better memorize those facts. You know, it's by no way like a dry account of the history in Russia, okay? So this definitely is worth purchasing. And I purchased this book for one of my favorite seminars. In Russian, we examined the phenomenon of the Russian Berlin when the Bolshevik Revolution was about to take place. Some of the intelligentsia left Russia and moved to Germany, amongst them Vladimir Nabokov, for example. They formed parts of the Russian Berlin. Marina Tsvetaeva, she also spent some time in Berlin before moving to Prague. If you come across that seminar, definitely take it. It's fun, it's interactive, it's engaging. I mean, I never was bored and I learned so much about especially about the writers and poets from the so-called Серебряный век, so the beginning of the 20th century. I am about to have some ginger tea because I feel like I might be coming down with something. Some homemade guacamole and accompanied by these gluten-free crackers which tend to disappear really quick. For dessert, which is as much an integral part of my daily life as my coffee, I've got some coconut yogurt, which it used to be plain but which I've optimized now. So I've put in some frozen raspberries and some hemp seeds, and I'm going to treat myself to these divinely good coconut yogurt. And then I'm off to film the rest of the content. Alright guys, that's about it for today's episode. Technology has let me down once again, and I have to end this episode outside on this beautifully sunny day. I hope that you liked this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up to let me know that you like this content, and also consider subscribing to my channel. I post on a weekly basis, Saturdays or Sundays, depends, and I hope to see you all next week. Всем пока, Tschüss zusammen, bye guys!